The workout that I am going to do today is going to be a really basic workout. It's very basic exercises. In case if you struggle in the other classes, this is going to be a really good workout for you to keep coming back to help you work on form and function. And so I'll make sure I get it uploaded on YouTube very quickly. So if, say, you're in an online class where it's just a form of exercise that you just don't feel like you can safely or effectively execute, this would be the workout to go back to and just kind of help build that foundation. So yeah, this is going to be a good foundational workout to build on from here. So with that being said, we're going to start with a couple of functional exercises that will not only help start moving the blood and warming you up, but it also will help activate the core. So these are exercises that are also very functional in helping you create that foundation. We're going to start on the mat in a bird dog. So you're going to come to a tabletop position. Hands should be under the shoulders or even slightly ahead of the shoulders. Same with the knees, either under the hips or slightly behind the hips. And what you may find that you need to start with is just lifting one leg. So what we really want to focus on here is our hips are squared with the mat and our core is nice and tightened around our spine. And then evenly distribute the weight in both hands. Bring that leg down, same thing on the other side. So you really have to brace through this whole midsection to not shift side to side. And if this feels weird and like you can't do it at first, then this is exactly where you need to be. The more you do it, you're going to start feeling those muscles engage. So if this feels completely solid, try adding the opposite arm as you lift. Couple more. Really focus on keeping your back flat and not shifting side to side. Last one each side. Good. Let's stretch it out. Sink your hips back. Walk your hands forward. And come up to a tabletop again. Bring one hand behind your head. Again, get your core nice and solid. This is a tiny little movement here. Don't feel like you have to do a full range of motion, especially before your body gets warm. Keep your hips parallel with the mat. Open that elbow up and tap it down to the other elbow. Open up, tap it down. One more on this side. And let's move to the other side. Set up in that nice solid tabletop, hand behind the head. Open up, tap the elbows together. Open up, tap. Good. Come to a nice tabletop again. And we're going to do what's called cat and cow in yoga. So you're going to press your chest forward and drop your belly towards the ground as you breathe in. Lift the chin. And then as you breathe out, round the back and pull the chin in. Really hollow out the belly. Pull the belly button in. So inhale, chest shifts forward, chin lifts. Exhale, round the back, hollow the belly. One more. Good. Now let's come to a standing position. We're going to warm up our arms. So stand with feet hip distance apart. Roll the shoulder back and down. Lift the hips. Thumbs pointed up. And we're just going to slow and controlled lift and lower the arms. Now, thumbs point down, same thing. Really focus on keeping the shoulders pulled back and down. Okay, we're gonna hinge forward with a flat back, so we're not rounded. We've got a flat back, stick your behind out, shoulders back and down, chest lifted, thumbs pointed out, and slow and controlled, lift and lower. Neck is neutral, so our chin isn't lifted up. We're looking straight down to the ground where our neck is just a nice smooth extension from our spine. And bring the thumbs to point towards each other, same thing. Okay, so we are going to start with a more basic variation of exercises, and we're going to do a couple rounds of those, and then I'm going to offer you a progression that you may or may not do based on how you feel with the first two rounds. We're going to start with squats. So you always have the option to put a chair behind you to offer a little bit more stability. What we're going to do, we're going to bring our feet to hip distance apart. We're going to try and stay as upright as we can. Now watch what my knees do as I squat back. Notice my knees are not shifting. I'm not leading with my knees. I'm leading with my hips. My hips are going back. The knees are going to shift forward somewhat, but they're not going past the toes, ideally. As I come up, my weight drives down through my heels. I'm trying to keep my chest lifted so that I don't totally collapse down on my thighs. Four more here. Okay, so squats are one of the first exercises that you should always try and conquer before you move on to more complex leg exercises. This is a good functional movement. We spend lots of time sitting down, standing up, so we want to make sure we're doing it effectively. Okay, so next we're going to go into wall push-ups. So hopefully you guys can see me good here. So in wall push-ups, this is another one. It's a good precursor to anything on the floor, like chest presses, floor push-ups, or standard push-ups. Because what we want to do is create good stability along our shoulders. So the most important thing here is that we keep our shoulders pulled back, down, and together. That's super important here. If your shoulders start to shrug up, then you need to make it a little bit easier on yourself and really focus on keeping the shoulders pulled back and down. Hands are on the wall, about in line with the shoulders, and notice what my elbows do. Notice they're not out here. They're kind of, if you're looking at it like a clock, they're pointing to like 4:30 and like 6:30. So shoulders rolled back and down, nice straight line with the body. So it's not just the upper half of the body, the whole body's in a nice straight line. And this is really going to help create shoulder stability so that you can safely and effectively progress to more challenging chest exercises. So just as our squats, we're working our legs and our glutes, this is working our chest and our triceps, the muscles on the backs of our arms, and then our shoulders. Okay, so those are wall push-ups. Now we are going to move on to a plank. So in a plank, you have a couple different variations here. You can be on your knees in a plank if you'd like, but notice what my hips do here. I'm not up here, I'm not in tabletop. I'm also not sunk down where I've got pressure on my lower back. My hips are, it's like my body's a straight line and then my hips are slightly lifted off of that straight line. My chest is lifted forward. My neck is an extension of my spine. My head is not hanging down. And I'm pulling in all the muscles around my spine. So you can be here or you can come up on your toes. So same thing here. I'm lifting up through the chest. My shoulders are pulled back and down. My hips are just slightly raised out of that straight line, and I'm hugging in all the muscles that support my spine. And from here, you can squeeze your behind, squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Pay attention to that neck. Make sure the head isn't dropped. Couple more seconds here. And come down. Let's stretch it out before we head back up. Now we're going to come up for lunges. So lunges are another very functional movement. When we bend down to pick laundry up, we're doing a lunge. So we want to make sure we're doing it safely and effectively. So let's start by stepping our left foot forward, right foot back. Notice I'm up on the back toes. My toes are all pointed forward on both feet. If you struggle with balance, come to a wall or a piece of furniture, depend on it as much as you need, but no more than what you need. So as I bend, you'll notice my knees bend evenly. That again, just like with the squat, notice that knee in the front isn't going past the toe. It's coming up about over that middle toe. The top half of my body is upright, and this back knee is headed towards the floor. My knees are bending evenly. 2 more here. Let's set up on the other side. Right foot forward, left leg back. Both knees bend evenly, and I'm headed straight up and down. If you feel discomfort in this front knee, you probably need to step that front foot up a little bit more and really drive the weight down through the heel. Chest is lifted, top half of the body is perpendicular to the floor. 1 more. Good. Okay, headed down to the mat for a back exercise, Supermans. So Supermans are a nice supported way to work your lower back. So we're going to extend our arms overhead. If this feels super uncomfortable, if you have maybe a shoulder injury or something, you can bring your arms down to your side. But if you can extend your arms overhead, you'll get more out of the exercise. So as I lift up, I'm lifting my chest, my arms, my shoulders are rolled back and down, my neck is straight, and my legs are all in one straight line. And lower down. Really notice the legs here because people tend to bend the legs to try and get more height. Go ahead and come down, lift up again. But if you can bring those legs up as one chain, then it's going to challenge your lower back more. Come down 1 more, come up, hold, and come down. Press back to stretch it out. Okay, come to a standing position. We're going to go through all that again without quite as much instruction so that it feels a little bit more like a workout. So we're going to start with squats. Feet hip distance apart, send your hips back. Notice what your knees are doing here. Work to keep lifting up through the chest. You're going to fall down some, but you're trying to fight against that as much as you can. Weight in your heels. You should be able to wiggle your toes. Five more. Good. Okay. Back to wall push-ups. Hands in line with the shoulders. Shoulders pulled back down together. Body's in a straight line. Think how you were holding that plank and hold your body in that same position. Don't let your elbows flare. Last one. Okay. Let's come to our plank. Okay. So again, you can be on your knees, straight line from the shoulders to the knees, hips slightly lifted off the line, or come up to your toes. Again, chest is pressed forward, shoulders back and down, hips slightly lifted, pull in all those muscles around the spine. Neck is a nice gentle extension of the spine. Head isn't dropped down. Few more seconds. And come down, stretch it out. And come up for lunges. Left foot forward, right leg back. All 10 toes point forward, knees bend evenly. Press down through that front heel to come up. Other side, right foot forward, left foot back. Again, if you feel strain in that front knee, you almost definitely need to step that foot up a little more. Okay, down on the mat, Supermans. Reach forward with the arms, shoulders rolled back and down, lift up, squeeze, and lower again. Really squeeze that whole back chain as you come up. You should really feel this in your glutes and your behind, your lower back. Couple more. Make sure you're not holding your breath. Last one. Good. Press back, stretch it out. Okay, so now we're going to progress this slightly. With that being said, you've got these exercises we've already done that you can come back to. If you struggled with them, don't progress to this next level. Remember, you can come back and revisit this workout, and over time, kind of build on what you've learned. But if any of the exercises we just did you struggle with, that's where you need to be in this round. So with squats, if you struggled with the squats we just did, then you do them exactly like we just did on the first 2 rounds. If you feel like you can do a little bit more, if you feel good and stable, you grab a weight. So with the weight, you can hold it up to your chest sideways, or you can do what's called a goblet squat. Hold it like this, it's just preference. So same thing, we really want to set up with our feet hip distance apart, send our hips back, and work on keeping our body upright. It becomes more challenging with weight because now we're digging into our core a little bit more to keep us upright. Really drive down through the heel, squeeze the behind to come up. Two more here. Okay, weight down. No, actually, maybe weight down. So you can come back to your wall push-ups if you did not feel stable in your shoulders. If you kept feeling your shoulders shrug up, you really need to go back to the wall and work on that shoulder stability, because that whole saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link, really applies with things like this. You want to have good shoulder stability. If you felt good and stable, then grab your weights and we're going to go down on the mat for a chest press. So you want to bring your elbows in line with the midline of your chest. This is super important. I see a lot of people with their weights way up here above their shoulders. That's super hard on your shoulders. You want your weights in line with the midline of your chest. Notice my arms are at a 90-degree angle as I press up. I let the weights meet in the middle, tiny bend in my arms. I come down, back to that 90 degrees. Press up, tiny bend in the arms. Don't lock out the arms or it becomes easy. And come down, press up. Another reason you don't want to lock out joints is because it can be a strain on the joints when you're doing a weight-bearing exercise to lock them out. So it's nice, slow, and controlled, a nice, good, even tempo. And again, pay attention to the position of these weights. They should be over the midline of the chest. The weight should not be over your face. One more. And weights down. Okay, so you've got your plank option. If you really struggle with a plank, then you can either go back and just work on your plank, or you can, we're going to do a couple different options here for a side plank. So if you're kind of somewhere in between, you feel like you're okay with your plank and you want to progress, you can always come to a modified side plank, which is going to be on your forearm and on your bottom knee. So my knees are stacked, and then my forearm is flat on the ground. My knees are basically in line with my elbow. It's going to be a little different for everybody. You can bring your top hand to your hip, press into that forearm and into the bottom knee to come up into a straight line. And you may want to stay right here for a side plank and just focus on a nice straight line with the front of your body. Or if you feel ready to progress, you can come up to just a standard side plank. So my hand is slightly ahead of my shoulder. That's going to avoid strain on your wrist if it's slightly ahead instead of directly under. I have a nice straight line with my body. My hips aren't sagging or pressed back. You should feel no compression in your lower back. If you do, you probably need to press your hips forward a little bit. The front of my body is opened up. And switch sides. So same thing, you have the option to come down on your forearm with knees stacked. Or you can come up on your forearm or your hand in a regular side plank. Again, hands slightly ahead of the shoulder, straight line with my body. Now, if you find that one side of your body struggles a lot more, where you realize maybe on the first side you did a standard, but then you have to go to a modified side plank on the other side, then from here on out you do a modified on both sides until you can do a standard on both sides so you don't create muscular imbalances. And come down. Okay, we're going to come up for lunges. Y'all hang in there. We got 2 more exercises. Okay, so if you struggled with lunges, obviously you stick with what we just did. Otherwise, if you want to progress it, you can grab a weight. You can grab one weight and hold it to your chest, or you can grab 2 weights and hold them to your side. Left foot forward, right leg back. Same thing, this time we're just doing a weight-bearing version of the lunge. It's super important you focus on lifting up through your chest on these, because especially if you're holding the weights to your sides, you may tend to round forward, which can put a lot of strain on your lower back. 2 more here. And other side. Right foot forward, left foot back. Lift up through the chest, bend the knees evenly. Don't feel like you've got to progress to these weights just because you see me holding weights. You may be on that standard lunge with no weight, and if that's challenging, that's where you need to be. 2 more. And come up. Okay, so last exercise, you can go back to the Supermans. If you struggle with instability in your lower back, then you want to do Supermans right now to help create that foundation so that you can eventually progress to what we're going to do next, which is the single arm row. So you can do this on a weight bench or a chair, but in case if you don't have those, I'm going to show you how to do it on your leg. Let's start with our left foot forward, right leg back. And I'm just propping my forearm up on my leg. But here's the most important part. Check out my back. I've got a nice straight back, chest lifted, shoulder back and down. I'm going to row this weight up. The elbow is hugged into my body. So let me turn this way so you can see. See how close my arm is to my body. So you're not out here. It's hugged in. I only row up as far as I can without having to move the position of my shoulder. So you're not trying to rotate and get as high as you can. You're keeping a nice, flat, stable back, core braced as you row up. And other side. So if you're using your leg, you prop up on your leg, check out your back. Wherever you're at, you've got a nice flat back. You're rowing straight back. Two more. And last one. Come down. Good job. Okay. We're going all the way down to the mat. We're going to go back into that cat and cow to stretch out our spine. So inhale, press the chest forward, drop the belly, lift the chin. Exhale, round the back, tuck the chin. One more. And let's step our left leg forward for a low lunge. Notice both of my knees are bent to 90 degrees. Lift up through the chest, tilt the pelvis. So it's like you're trying to press the belly button up towards the face. You should feel a nice stretch on this right leg, the leg where the knee's down on the floor. Lift your right arm up, get nice and long through the side of your body, and then reach that right arm towards the left. Keep the pelvis tilted. And come out of it. Bring your hands to either side of your leg. Hinge your hips back. We're going to stretch the back of this left leg now. And other side. Right knee forward, left knee back. Lift up through the chest, tilt the pelvis. Feel that nice, good stretch on the left side. And then extend the left arm up. Get nice and long through the side of the body. And reach towards the right. Don't lose that pelvic tilt. And release, send the hips back, hover over this front leg, the right leg. And slowly come out of it, come to a standing position. Interlace your hands behind your back, roll your shoulders back and down. Your chest should be nice and lifted here, shoulders should be open. You can even kind of rest your hands on your lower back and flare your elbows a little bit and see if you can get deeper into it. If this is inaccessible, if you find yourself rounded here, come to a wall, bring your arm to 90 degrees, try and keep that arm where it is as you turn your body away. And release. Cross your right arm across your body, hook it with your left arm, flip in and down. Release, other side. Left arm across the body, right arm pulls it in and down. Keep that shoulder rolled back and down. And release, final stretch. Walk that right hand down the thigh. Drop your head to the left. See if you can nudge this right shoulder down a little bit more. If it feels okay, turn and look to the left shoulder. And then slowly come out of it, same way you went in, turn your head side to side, roll your shoulders, other side, walk the left arm down, drop the head to the right. Turn, look at the right shoulder. Come out of it the same way you went in, roll the neck, roll the shoulders. Okay, so hopefully you guys got a lot out of this today. Like I said, this is a good foundational workout to come back to. If you are struggling, say you keep getting lower back pain after a workout or something just doesn't feel stable for you, this is going to be your go-to workout for a while until you master all of these basic functional movements. As you do that, it's not just going to make you more effective in your workouts, it's going to make you more effective in daily life, whether it's bending over, picking up laundry, pressing something away. There's so many just functional movements here, so you really can't master these enough.